Okay, so let's take a look at how you can draw Dendrogram using Python's Plotly library, right? So first thing, we'll open command prompt, right? Now here, I will type in Python --version. This is to check whether we have Python or not. If not, you can download the Python, install it, make sure it's in path, then we are good to go. Now type in pip install Plotly. This library we will use to plot the dendrogram, right? Next thing, we will also need plotly dash express. So this is the compact version of library. Along with, we will also need Jupyter dash lab, right? So these few things you need. Apart from that, you can also try out Jupyter dash lab to run the Jupyter notebook server. Alternatively, there is classic interface Jupyter space notebook, right? So these things, once you set up, you are good to go for drawing the dendrogram in notebook. So in my case, I'm using Visual Studio. So Visual Studio Code, and here I have installed two extensions, one being Jupyter, second being Python, right? These two you will need to draw dendrogram, right? So as you can see, Jupyter and then Python. Now I will just open view, then command palette. Here I will type in Jupyter, which will show you the option that is create new Jupyter notebook. Select that, and you have this tab where you can go ahead and write the code, right? So this is the text box and this is your button. So in text box, and simply type in import plotly dot figure underscore factory, right? You can also find it here as ff, and then import numpy as np. These two things we will need, right? We will also be making use of things like np dot random dot seed, right? Then we will also require one array that contains list of colors, because we want to show that within dendrogram. So this array should contain color like say red, then we have blue, then green, then let's go with variation dark orange, then we have gold, right? And then we have say light coral, but make sure everything is in single quote, right? Then you have orange, red, right? And then we have brown too. These are some of the colors I will be pointing out later. Now come back to our values. So I have x set to np dot random dot rand function that takes 20 and 5 in our case, right? Now we will draw the figure. So figure equals to ff dot create underscore dendrogram. So here you can even find that, and this function should take the value of x, right? Now what we can do, we can use figure dot update underscore layout, and then we have auto size set to true, right? Next thing, we can also take a look at figure dot show, right? So if we run this code, it should draw the most basic dendrogram. So it will start the process, as you can see, and the below code there is one timer that will start and end at the time when we have our dendrogram. So entire time will be displayed, how many seconds it took to draw the plot. So here you see 15.4 seconds. Below, if you scroll, you will find dendrogram, right? You will also find the colors by default, but we haven't added those colors yet, right? You can also choose to play around with color threshold, right? So within this create dendrogram option, you can type in color underscore threshold, and we can give it value something like 1.2 or something, right? So if we run this, you will have a bit different dendrogram than before, right? Because we are playing around with color threshold as well. Now the thing is, say if I want to play around with label, right? So what I can do, I can add this text array, right? And it should be exactly below my color array, right? So here I'm going to use square bracket, and within which I'm going to use this character cx, and for x in range, right? So for range we will set something up 65, 85, something like that, and based on that value we can choose the text, right? So if we run this, we will have to also change labels. So labels equals to text, so it will pick label from text selection. So here you see, you get that part covered, right? So we have managed to change color threshold, then we managed to add label. You can also choose the color that we added before. So this color we will choose, right? So as you can see, the first thing that we will do here will be using color scale, and then pass this color array. So color scale equals to color, right? That we just created, and we run this and we will see the difference, right? This is light orange, then dark orange, then red, green, blue, all of them listed here within your dendrogram. Now there are a few things I would like to point out to, which is orientation, right? So for orientation we will just have to pick this property orientation, right, equals to, and here we will use single quote. So let's see, orientation is left, and if I run this, you will notice the change in dendrogram. So what if it's right, then it will also shift to right, and you can see that, right? Now if I want to say orientation is top, and you can see the flip here, right? So basically it will try to flip your entire dendrogram upside down, right? So if we remove this property, then it will come back to its original bottom side. So default is the bottom for most of the dendrograms, regardless of the type of library that you use. You can use matplotlib, Seaborn, or even plotly like this. So the default will remain orientation bottom, right? So we can play around with left, right, and top like this, but you know the default. Right now if we remove this, and let's say if I choose to play with opacity and choose 0.6 and run this, So unexpected keyword opacity. So opacity seems to be not supported in this case, right? Now one more thing, if we can check whether we have title. So if title is supported by this function, then we are good to go. Otherwise we can remove that as well. So even that is not supported, right? So we will have to use other means for that. Now what we have done so far is we have managed to draw the basic dendrogram, then we adjusted color threshold, changed the labels, we added the custom colors, also played with orientation within the dendrogram. So if we run this, we get something like this with some of the adjustments that we have done here, right? So this kind of covers your typical dendrogram. If you have any data set, you can go ahead and experiment with that in order to see how it works for various group values, and you will be getting that type of dendrogram.